Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kura Isagami, your resident Tinkerer and Medarotter, and this is the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet fighting robot series. Now this week, as we start August, at long last, we're quite a ways through the year actually, but we've had lots and lots of good content as going forward. And honestly, I really can't say we can beat the 2.5-year anniversary that we just are going to be wrapping up this week going forward and ending July on a good note. And honestly, in my perfect opinion, the event that we had with the 2.5-year anniversary is probably the most generous we've ever had to date. And since that is going to be wrapping up this week, I do greatly recommend you make use of the last couple days that we have and farm for any extra materials you have, because we may not see something this generous for a pretty fair amount of time going forward. But starting August, we are going to be going relatively slower as a way to finally wind down, which I think would be greatly encouraged and greatly welcomed at this point by the player base. But despite that, we are actually getting not one, but two brand new models that we actually have seen previously as enemy NPCs, but are now officially pullable models in the gacha. That being said, let's go ahead and jump right into what they did announce for this week going forward with this week's episode of The Queen and the Joker. Starting forward with the gacha banners, we have, as you see here, TJK0 Jackal from Medarot 3 with a kit of Napalm, Hyper Beam, Wide Break, Flight Legs, and the Auto Charge leg ability. Jackal is also capable of meta change into a sword-based form, where he changes his kit out almost entirely for a kit of Destroy, Gunpowder Guard, Gravity Guard, Float Legs, and the Hoplite leg ability. Now, basically a really major change from an ironic change from offense to defense, albeit somewhat ironic that his meta change is a sword-based form. But honestly, right from start, Jackal is going to be packing a lot of very powerful moves in his kit, as well as a leg ability that does comp to both of them. Behind Jackal, we also have the Queen of the Trump card quartet, TQN0 May Queen, with a kit of Flame, Virus, Hold, Sea Legs, and the Elusive leg ability. So naturally, May Queen is more designed to be an ailment inflictor and an interrupter on the team, more than actual offense, such as, say, Jackal might be. May Queen is also capable of meta change herself, transforming into more of a mace-like form, with a kit of Rebirth, Optic Guard, Stat Cleanse, Float Leg, and the Holy Grace leg ability. So naturally, both of these two bots are going to have some very handy skills to make use of, not just for on the field, but also off the field, as well as support or offense. But their ultimate viability, of course, does rely on the Medarotter themselves. In addition to these two, since we seem to be making a callback to Medarot 3 this week, we are also seeing a rerun of ever-iconic KBT-05M Saikachis with the kit of Missile, Rifle, Gatling, Biped Legs, and the Gunman leg ability, who also is indeed capable of meta change as well, with a kit of Missile, Crossfire Set and Release, Wheeled Legs, and the Absand leg ability. And then alongside him, we have his counterpart, KWG-05M Dorcas, with a kit of Radar Sight, Sword, Hammer, Biped Legs, and the B-Loader leg ability. So honestly, both very fantastic and well-rounded kits as well. Dorcas is also capable of meta change into a multi-ped form, where he changes his kit out for Hammer, Anti-Air, Anti-Sea, and the Breakneck leg ability. So as I said, both models, and including Jackal and May Queen, are all fantastic and well-rounded up to this point. You really can't go wrong going after any of them. But as a friendly reminder for new players, for veterans alike, just for the way gacha banners work for meta change models, you either get the entirety of the set or you do not. So if either of these four models are somebody that you want to really push for, just be prepared to put a lot of rubies into it in the case that you do not get them right away. And then, of course, as a little bit of a odd choice, but will be explained here ever so briefly, is KWG-0D Adolphin from Medarot G, with a kit of Stealth, Charge Blade, Hammer, Biped Legs, and the Torturer leg ability. Now, as mixed of a kit as he is, Adolphin as well is also very well-rounded for what he has, and in the right hands can also be just as dangerous as any other member of his family. And again, all 5 models we have this week available are all worthwhile in one form or another, so there really is no priority over who is better or who is worse than the other. So honestly, pick at your convenience based on who you're looking for and what you hope to go after. In terms of Fierce Battles we have this week, we're looking at a relatively lower key roster as well, starting the line with JEL0 Perurun Jelly with a kit of triple missile, tank legs, and the fortress leg ability. Behind him we have SCP-0 Poison Scorpy with the kit of triple melt, multi-ped legs, and the desert type leg ability. And then last but not least, we have everyone's favorite Medarot 5 Scarab Beetle type, SCB-0 Kanabunbun, with a kit of triple bug, multi-ped legs, and the spearhead leg ability. Now honestly, of the three we have here, Perurun Jelly may be the least used or the least favorable of them all, given that Missile is already a very niche skill in and of itself. Tank legs on top of that honestly make him just a little tougher to go after or really prioritize as well. But the Fortress ability does provide a little bit of a forgiveness to that extent, especially given the fact that tank legs also have that natural 30% damage reduction built in. Poison Scorpy and Kanabunbun are also both very handy as well. Scorpy, in the case of its legs as desert type, it can be a very handy ability to make use of on the specific terrains. And Kanabunbun all around for bug with turn skipping. And his legs, even if they are relatively slower than most other conventional multi-peds, the Spearhead ability does make up for these very well. That being said, I would honestly have to give the MVP of the week to Kanabunbun in this case, as the better all-round to go after, since none of his parts are heavy, they do not require anything, and honestly, in general, turn skipping with bug or virus is something you can generally never ever go wrong with from the start. Now, in terms of, as I mentioned earlier, with Adolfin being a relatively strange pick in particular with this week's gacha, that is because this week he is going to be officially getting his tune-up treatment to follow along behind Dekotom, who got it a number of weeks ago. So naturally, he will be getting the tune-up and the bonus treatment as well, with the reward skin at the end if you fully cap him out. But some of the bonuses in particular that they did highlight, which were very interesting bonuses for him to definitely step up his game. In terms of his head, stealth can now last 2 turns instead of 1, and he gets an additional head use, which of course is kind of standard at this point. In addition, the charge blade can have up to a 50% additional damage bonus relative to the charge gauge when using the skill. So honestly, I would say he's definitely going to be worth going after. I wouldn't necessarily say, however, that he has a lot of game-breaking skills or things that'll really make him broken or high-end compared to, say, Arc Beetle, who really got spoiled rotten with the tune-up treatment, or even Dekotom, who really got a step up with that as well. Adolfin, I'd say, go after at your own convenience, not necessarily a priority item or someone to really put effort towards, unless you are a particular fan of that model or the KWG series as a whole. That being said, on the community front, we are still always looking for translators and cleaners for the Medarot 3 and the Medarot Reloaded translation projects, so if you have any knowledge in coding or cleaning or Japanese with some time on your hands, we are more than appreciative of any efforts that you'd be willing to provide or contribute, and if you have any questions on that, you're welcome to reach out to me or join our Discord in the link provided and in the comments below to get you up to speed on everything that has been done and everything that needs done up to this point. Progress has been relatively slow on Medarot 3's translation thus far. A number of other test builds have been observed as well, but mostly just to fine-tune and see that everything is working as it is. But there still is a lot of text that needs to be cleaned and translated, so if anyone is willing to help with that, we are more than appreciative, and we honestly could not thank you enough. We can work on other projects like Medarots 4, 5, and Navi, which are, as mentioned in previous week's episodes, highly requested topics of discussion as future translation projects. Now for the weekly art highlight, I chose to highlight a number of relatively more obscure models, for lack of a better term, just to give out a little highlight to the ones that don't see the light of day as often. This one here by Twitter user Afro's Jockstrips is Empress Patra from the really early days of Medarot R. Many who watch the anime will know this model particularly well for its transformation abilities. So it is very nice to see this model get a remake treatment with her art, and hopefully one day soon we might see her officially join the roster in-game as someone that we can pull. And then we can also highlight this user here, Twitter user Terria at Terria Menso, highlighting this particular art piece of a lesser-known crayfish type in Rollstar series. And this is the direct upgrade to him, Popping Star, who was seen from Medarot 3 onward for a very short period of time. more or less same exact kit, but a little more little bulkier this time around. And honestly, I do kind of prefer this design over Rollstar, but that is just my personal opinion. If you'd like to see more Medarot art, definitely give both of these two people a follow, and you definitely will not be sorry seeing them in your daily Twitter feeds. But with that all being said, like I mentioned, it is going to be a rather light week this week as we're officially winding down finally from the events of the Zoids collab and then the 2.5-year anniversary back-to-back. Something I do greatly think will be openly welcomed by the community as a way to recoup on lost resources, or rather, the lack of lost resources such as rubies and ruby shards, given that this event has let us basically farm everything to stack overflow at this point. But, with all that being said, I do appreciate you all for stopping by once again. If you'd like to know more, you can follow us below on Facebook at the Medarot News Network page, or the Metabots community for Metabots Forever community there. You can also join us on Discord in the link provided and in the comments below, and this is just the best way to keep an ear to the ground on anything related to the series. This includes any new merchandise, games, updates, any kind of sneak peek or tidbits, or even my weekly videos I post every Tuesday going forward for Medarot S News. You can always find it there first and foremost before anywhere else. You can also reach out to me personally on Twitter at Isagamikura, so if you have any questions or feedback or comments or suggestions, my DMs are always open for this very reason, so feel free to stop in and say hello and don't be a stranger. I'm always open to a quick chat whenever I get the chance. And I do also give these fine friends of mine a follow as well, the Typhoon at the Typhoon3 on Twitter, who's been very hard at work, especially with Wonderfest coming and going, working on custom models and custom 3D resin print models of different Medarots and designs in the 1/12 scale that the Chikado models are coming in. So fantastic work there. Currently his favorite one to date that I've seen and that I really do like is the Beastmaster and the Death Providence models. All fantastically made and well designed. Definitely worth a follow and looking at there. And then also give my buddy Sadat Voiro, also here on Twitter, a follow as well, who's been posting very frequent updates and videos about games, about much earlier games such as Medarot R, elements from Medarot 9, and even games around that period or even earlier than that. Definitely give both these people a follow if you'd like to see more Medarot in your feed as well. But with all that being said, I do appreciate you all for stopping by. It's always happy to have you in for a visit. Until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.